Today I have a privilege of speaking with lawyer Rosario Martinez, a seasoned real estate lawyer specializing in property transaction in Spain. With recent legal changes impacting short-term rentals, many foreign investors are seeking clarity on how these regulations affect their properties. And in this interview, I would like to a little bit go deeper what kind of information we already know from this law change. Okay. Hi, Rosario.
Hi, Melis.
There is some questions for you. What do you think, what are the most significant legal changes affecting these short-term rentals in Spain? How this law change affect this short-term rentals in Spain generally?
Well, as you know already, in the last years, 12 months, there was been like significant changes according to a few laws and also according to a few court resolutions. But talking about the last one, and I think one of the most important one, it's the modification of the horizontal law in his Article 7, where they include or they add a new requirement to the short-term rentals, and it's about the necessity for every owner that wants to rent the apartment for short-term rentals that he needs the express authorization of the community of owners.
What this means?
It means that at least 60% of the owners has to authorize this person to rent his apartment. Not in the previous law, according to the previous law, they was voting also for a 60% of the owners if they can limit or prohibit the short-term rentals. But now it's not like they vote if they prohibit or not. They put, in my opinion, a little bit more complicated, because it's not the same to vote that you don't mind that the people it's renting or not, but now you have to vote expressly that you authorize that person to use the apartment for short-term rentals.
But what about this? If for example, new developments have many foreign peoples who live there, can they take this kind of decision that if they write it in a statute, a community statute, that every new owner can, for example, rent it out? Can they do this way, or they need to vote every time expressively?
When a new developer or when a developer is building the complex, and then when he divides the building in all the apartments according to the horizontal law, you need to think that the developer is the first owner of all the apartments. Mm-hmm. So he creates the community, and he creates the community rules, the community in-laws, the statutes. So if he decides to include that limitation, he can do, because he's, let's say, he's creating the community rules. So if he wants to do, he can do. Nowadays, it's not usual that they do this, because at the end of the day, a developer wants to sell properties, so he's not going to even limit himself to sell, because there are people who want for rent and people who doesn't want for rent, to buy the apartments for rent or not. But it's not clever for a developer to put limitations in the status, because you can have problems with the future owners. At the end, his interest is to sell the apartment, but it can be done, and I saw before, when the developer is creating the community rules, he include a prohibition of the short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but another question is, how does this new regulation impact properties that already have a valid tourist rental license? How this impact?
No, they don't have any impact. The properties who has already the authorization and the license are not affected.
They can continue with
Yeah,
short-term
they can
rentals
continue.
if everything is by the law and correct. Okay.
This is starting from April onwards. The law is already approved, but they have a time to come into force until April, until 1st of April. So from April on is when you are going to need an authorization, an express authorization.
If I remember correctly, it was 3rd of April this year when this law change come effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is something new also. It's that every property who is for short-term rentals needs to be registered in the Land Register as a short-term rental property.
In the Land Register as well. It's new thing.
Yeah. But this is something that can be easily done, by the lawyer or the company who is arranging the rentals, but just for the people to know, because I know there are clients using companies that are not up to date with all the legality and all the things that they have to do.
You mean, what's the ordering in this case? Firstly, if I want to rent it out, I have to firstly get approval from the community. This is first thing.
Let's start from zero. Okay. What I do if I have a client here coming to me and say, I want to buy an apartment for short-term rental. Okay. What I do? First, I ask a communication from the community of owners for them to inform what is the point of view according to the short-term rentals. If they prohibit, if they don't prohibit, if they limit, if it's not prohibited, but then they have to pay like a 20% more of the community fee.
Can community ask this kind of money from the... Okay, but it's not always must be.
No. It's not compulsory. It's up to the community. Okay, we allow you to do short-term rentals, but as we know, this is type of properties always create more problems or whatever, or causes more damages or whatever. Okay. They are authorized to increase the monthly fee in 20%, the monthly or quarterly, the community fee, they are authorized to increase in a 20%.
Okay. Next step?
I check the community rules, but the official one registered at the Land Register.
Okay.
In most of the time, if the property is too old, maybe not, but in most of the times when a building it's created according to the horizontal law, let's say a normal building that we have, as I mentioned, the developer or the community needs to create the community rules, the community laws, the statutes. They have to do like in an official way. I mean, they used to do in a deed. When they create the community before the notary, they add also the community rules. These community rules has to be registered at the Land Register. I tell you, only in the case that is not there, but I would say 99% of the times, the community rules are in the Land Register.
Okay.
So we need to request the official rules. Not
from the Land Registry.
That's it. Sometimes the community of owners, they just send you, a PDF document saying these are the rules, or this is the internal rules. No, you need to always check the official community rules registered at the Land Register.
Okay.
Why? Because we need to check that there is no any prohibition to do the rentals, to do the shorter rentals. If there is any prohibition on that, you cannot request a license from the Junta de Andalucía for the shorter rentals.
If there is
a prohibition in the community rules,
then you can't order short-term rental license if there is prohibition in these rules. Yes?
Yes, then you cannot apply for the shorter rentals. That way, in advance, I always check the official community rules registered at the Land Register.
But sometimes, Rosario, you check also the community every meeting papers. You know.
Yes, sometimes
in
no.
In community rules, there
always.
is no prohibition, but you have found in your experience many times when community has taken this decision in yearly
every yearly meeting, they can change their mind.
But you have to check also this.
That's it. No, I mean the first thing is not sometimes. I always check also the Well, I'll tell you the community point of view about the renters, because there are the community rules registered at the Land Registry. Nowadays, most of them, none of them, you are going to find an exact prohibition to ban the shorter rentals, because before there was not using to do, so it's not, you are not going to find now. I mean, maybe from now on, yes. But after checking the community rules, which is the official document, this is what we need to apply for the license to the Junta de Andalucía.
Mm-hmm.
These official community laws register. But after that, okay, let's say that there is no prohibition I can do. No, because there was a meeting last year and they prohibit the short-term rentals. So you need to be not only check the official one, but also the communications from the act of the meetings mm-hmm. of the community of owners. Because they can ban, and as I said, they can change every year.
Yes.
They can vote now no, and the next year yes, and then no. As long as they have the majority of fifth parts of 60%,
yes,
they can vote every year.
Okay.
This is for the shorter rentals itself. There is also a new thing to add to the problem, that in 2023, at the end of 2023, if I'm not mistaken, our Supreme Court created a court resolution stating that they consider the short-term rentals as an economic activity or like a professional activity, because you are using your apartment to do money, so it's like you have a business.
Okay.
So the apartment is your business.
Say it again one more time.
Our Supreme Court in 2023, they issue a court resolution. The Supreme Court is our top court.
Yes.
They equiparate your apartment to a business. So it's not like you have your house and you do like a private thing with you because you are private. No. They, as per their opinion, your apartment is the same that if you are doing a commercial activity.
Okay, commercial activity.
A business with it, an economic activity, a business or a commercial activity.
If, for example, community statute, if we find this kind of sentence in the community statute, yes, then it means actually I can't do short-term rentals.
That you cannot do.
Yes, I cannot do.
Because I told you before that you are not going to find, it's not easy to find now, a prohibition to do short-term rentals like it is in the community rules, but you can find many community rules that they prohibit the economic activity in the building.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes people thinking that I don't start to do any, I don't put the shop there, or I don't offer any massage or something
or
like that.
Or dentist or lawyer's office, or an architect
But
office.
now the top court is decided that short-term rental is also...
Is the same like if you put a hairdresser.
Okay.
In the apartment.
Okay.
Or a dentist or a lawyer office. It's common. This is very common that you can find the prohibition to do a commercial activity in the building.
Okay, this is another story.
This is another story, but this is also something that we need to check if we are buying an apartment for short-term rentals, because if this is regulated or if this is stating in the community rules, even in the case that they accept the short-term rentals, if only one neighbor come the next year and then they say, listen, he's doing shorter rentals, this is considered a commercial activity, and the commercial activity is prohibited by our rules. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you need to vote or not, it's against the statutes. This is the first law for the community. So it's against that. So only with one person complaining, you have to...
Yes.
You have to close.
Yes, I understand. And in conclusion, what do you think, Rosario? How this will affect this real estate market, for example, here in Costa del Sol?
Well, I'm sorry to say that,
but what is your opinion?
My opinion is that they are creating every time much more requirements for this, I think this is going to affect in a really bad way to the real estate market here as well. As long as, of course, the people is buying here just to do the short-term rentals, or only focus in that. I think maybe we can find another type of solutions. There is something that we didn't mention, of course, talking all the time about short-term rentals. We have to point out and to be very clear that the short-term rentals are considered when the rental is less than 2 months. So it's like, yes, a weekend or Airbnb, or for 1 week, or weekends, only for touristic. But if you rent the apartment for more than 2 months, any of these regulations, it's applied. It's enforced. It's a completely different one if you decide to buy the apartment for long-term rentals, or rentals, let's say, like more than 2 months. But for the touristic rentals, as we know, for weekend, for Airbnb, for 1 week, something like that, I think at some point it will kind of disappear. As long as the government don't create a different solution for this, they are going to disappear.
Yes, or the developers start building these kind of specialized developments, which are like
this is something that we are already talking also about. That is not a bad idea. The developers can just create a building only for these purposes, So according to the law, they are sure that everything is in the legal way, just to allow the short-term rental. I think it's a good idea. Actually, I have been talking already with developers, and they say that why not? We could think about it.
I think with this law change will come definitely some new cases, and someone go to the court, and it gives more rights to the community with this law change, and it will be difficult for the investors who want to invest here in Costa del Sol, for example.
And then we didn't talk about this. We talked more or less about the law that I'm talking, the horizontal division law. It's national. It's for all of Spain. Then that we have our Andalusia royal decree. But then we need to listen also to the municipalities and to the town halls.
Yes.
Because there are also more restrictions, like in Málaga and in Fuengirola, for their short-term rentals. So on the top of the Andalusia and the national law, we have the law of the municipalities.
Yeah, I remember you told me that you have heard that Fuengirola and Málaga will prohibit short-term rentals, and I didn't believe you, but now it's nowadays it's true. But my question is, have you heard something about other areas as well? For example, Calajonda or Mijas.
We know.
This one.
We are preparing something in the lawyers' bar. We are like when we have a group, and I don't know when we can inform in an official way. It's not like an official way, but we are having meetings with the rest of the town halls of the municipalities for them to know what are their thoughts about that. What are they planning to do? Are they doing something like Fuengirola and Málaga? And for the time being, they are only thinking and studying the cases to see what they do. But in our opinion, they are not going to do anything, because the fact that Fuengirola and Málaga prohibit this is because they have a specific idiosyncrasy, I would say. I don't know if it's the correct word. But Fuengirola, they have to prohibit because Fuengirola is very small, and they don't have more space to build. So they have to manage what they have already. It's a very small city, they cannot build anymore. So if everybody is buying all the properties for the short term, Fuengirola itself, the community, the village itself, is like it's going to kind of disappear. It's not the people that grow here, they cannot buy a property. So that's why they have to do in this way. And in Málaga, it's happening more or less the same. Málaga is not like a neighborhood, with like people who grow up and who want to live there. If they start to become only for short-term rentals, Málaga itself and I don't know how to say it, it's like it will disappear. This is not the case from Mijas. Mijas is really big. They have a lot of place. Mijas, for instance, they don't have a lot of hotels, like professionals. So if they want to attract tourists or people who come, they need to provide another service. So they have in Bejas, I don't remember, I will need to check. But if they don't have capacity in the hotels to attend all the tourists, they cannot receive any more tourists. So that's why they are, for the time being, they are not planning or they are not thinking to ban or to prohibit or to put any other limitations for the short-term rentals. And it's the same that Marbella. Okay. Marbella is very big, they have a lot of places, they are not fighting. In Marbella we have a lot of hotels, but it's not a competition for the hotels neither. You know, the tourists that came here to spend 3 days in an Airbnb or in a short-term rental is not a competition for them. And we have a lot of places and a lot of hotels, and we have a lot of services to provide to every type of clients. So okay. For the time being, we are not expecting any limitations from the other town halls, but let's see.
Okay. Thank you, Rosario. Thank you very much for this clarification, and let's see what the future will bring us.
Okay. Thanks to you, Mirlis.